Kerchow! Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side. Hobbs and Shaw, or as the pros like to call it, Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, was directed by David Leitch, and is the first spin-off film in the Fast and Furious franchise, making it technically number 9 in this series, with the actual number 9 coming out next year. But anywho, so this movie focuses primarily on Hobbs and Shaw, played once again by Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham. And this time around, they have to team up to take down Idris Elba's super soldier man from spreading a virus that will wipe out a bunch of weak-ass people, and then Vanessa Kirby is there as well, and then there's a couple of cameos in there that you're probably not expecting in this movie, and then couple that with some fun action scenes, some overall lack of complete logic, and you got yourself one hell of a summer blockbuster. Without a doubt, Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham are definitely the best part of this movie. The best scenes in this entire thing are when they're just kind of going at each other, throwing insults back and forth, berating one another. That is where all the good comedy comes from as well, and there were some legitimately hilarious moments in here that I wasn't fully expecting. And of course, when they're not trying to insult each other based off appearances, they're off doing cool action star stuff. And, well, what can I say? They look really awesome doing those action movie things. We've also got Vanessa Kirby here as well, who plays Jason Statham's sister, even though she's 20 years younger than Jason Statham, but the movie tries to play it off like they grew up together. That's one of those examples of how this movie just really doesn't care about being logical in any stretch of the imagination. But beside from that, Vanessa Kirby was really good in this movie. She really held her own against Statham and The Rock, which was really good. And I think we're going to start seeing more and more of her in the future. In fact, right now she's rumored to play the new Catwoman in Matt Reeves' Batman movie, which, after seeing her in this movie and in Mission Impossible Fallout, I'd be totally down for that. And then we've got Idris Elba, who takes this super soldier, Terminator, Black Superman, Mr. Super Cool Assassin Soldier guy. He just takes this villain role and then just completely runs with it and has a ton of fun with it. This is a character that I feel like only would work if you had a big name star like Idris Elba in the role, because if this was just some nameless, faceless actor, it probably would not have resonated or worked as well, because Idris Elba, he's a fine actor, he's done some really good stuff in the past. You know, he brings a level of finesse and professionalism into this really ridiculous character, and I feel like it was probably just a nice escape from Idris Elba from doing some of his other, more serious work, so it was just really fun to see Idris Elba just play this totally stupid super soldier Terminator guy, and I think it worked pretty well. The action scenes are a ton of mind-numbing, stupid visual fun, with cars and stuff exploding everywhere, and all the main characters apparently have invincibility cheat codes activated. That's what this movie succeeds in, and pretty much this entire movie is just action scene, little bit of dialogue, 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 action scene, little bit of dialogue. One of the more common complaints I've heard about this movie is that it feels about 30 minutes too long. Like, there's this one big action scene towards the end of the film where everyone's gonna be like, alright, the movie's over, let's pack up and go home, but then it continues and goes to the island of Samoa and has another, big old finale action scene, which I do understand where some people are coming from there, but for me, it didn't really bother me that they went that direction. I kind of expected they would do something like that, not just because I, saw the trailers and all that, and I thought it was pretty good, but I do understand people are saying where the movie is just a little too long. I think it's just a little over 2 hours, but, it probably should have been like 100 minutes long, or an hour 50 minutes. But what I'm trying to say is I really didn't mind that last 30 minutes of the movie as much as some people did. This movie is just the definition of turn off your brain fun. There are a lot of flaws and a lot of things wrong and inconsistent about this movie that somebody more cynical than myself could definitely just dive into every last little thing, tear it apart piece by piece, but I feel like that would kind of be missing the point of this kind of action movie. It's not a movie that takes itself seriously whatsoever. The premise is absolutely stupid. There's some serious gaps in logic here, and it's kind of refreshing. I think ultimately ultimately, I think we're in a great spot with action movies right now, you know, where they take them a little more seriously, craft a decent story around them, have some really good action sequences in there, you know, prime example being the John Wick trilogy. But you know what, even though we have these really good action movies, it's really kind of nice to just come into a movie like this that just doesn't give a shit. It'll keep you entertained for a couple hours, but you're not gonna go home and think about the characters and every last little detail up into the point where you go and brush your teeth and go to bed. You know, it's just pure escapism, which, you know, is not a bad thing whatsoever. We need that kind of thing once in a while. You know, we shouldn't get these Hobbs and Shaw type movies all the time because just like eating junk food, it's not particularly good for you, but in moderation, it's kind of a nice treat. So all in all, Hobbs and Shaw is the definition of a fun, stupid summer blockbuster movie. You know, if you're a fan of the Fast and Furious franchise and you've actually enjoyed seeing these movies just slowly escalate more and more into ridiculousness, then you'll probably have a good time with this movie. But even if you're not a Fast and Furious fan, I mean, I wasn't until a few days ago, but you know, even if you're not a fan of this, you might still get some enjoyment out of it if you just simply turn off your brain and just enjoy yourself. So, those are my thoughts on Hobbs and Shaw. If you guys have seen this movie, or if you think we're gonna get Fast and Furious versus dinosaurs in outer space, because it kind of seems like where this series is going in terms of ridiculousness, let me know down below, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side.